Call the regular council meeting for the corporation of the town of Cobalt to order on November 12th, 2025 at 30 p.m. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. None. 3, public meetings. There are none. 4, deputations, delegation. 4.1, Dan LaRocque is here to speak with us from the Bunker Military Museum. Dan, if you'd like to come up to the center table, please.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No, would you like to introduce your?
So I'd like to introduce, my name is Dan LaRocque. For those of you that don't know me, I recognize some of the faces here, but some of you are fresh to me. I'm the curator and manager at the Bunker Military Museum, and I've been in that position for approximately 20 years now. And I'd like to introduce Darcy Griffith, who is a representative of the board of the museum as well. And if it's okay with you, I'd like to let him start off.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Dan. I'd like to start by saying thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to come and speak to this. The Cobalt Bunker Military Museum has grown up in the town of Cobalt. As I'm sure you're all aware, it started as a passion project of one veteran after World War II to want to share the history of the military around the world, the heroism, the positive aspects of the military, as well as the things that nobody wants to talk about. It's a museum unlike any other. It doesn't represent one base, it doesn't represent one country, it doesn't represent one unit. It represents both sides of conflict. It talks about what can happen if you don't remember the history. And so I was able to join the board a number of years ago. It's something that I think is incredibly important to continue to share. I can't imagine the Cobalt Bunker Military Museum being anywhere other than the town of Cobalt. Since we moved into the basement of the building owned by the town of Cobalt, the Bunker Military Museum has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on renovations and setting up exhibitions, and utilities and advertising. We do our best to bring people to the town of Cobalt to be part of the arts scene, the kind of the upswell of community groups. I know that you had received a letter from the Bunker Military Museum. I apologize if it was interpreted as it wasn't our intent to have it interpreted. It came across perhaps a little more strongly worded than we had wanted it to. And that's why we thought if we had an opportunity to come and kind of explain this. We have had spoken to a lawyer trying to figure out just how we go about getting our, kind of our space put back, be able to open the exhibitions again, to move forward and share the information kind of with the public again. And his thoughts were that because it was going to be an insurance claim for the town of Cobalt, that likely the insurance for the town of Cobalt, once you'd already paid the deductible that the town would have to pay, it would also cover some of the costs to set the museum back up. It was never our intention to want to sue the town of Cobalt. We see the town of Cobalt as a partner with the Bunker Military Museum. I think there's a win-win here for both of us. I think it's just a question of finding the common ground. I think you've been invited before. I would welcome you, any of the councillors or all of the councillors, if you wanted to come and kind of see the space. What we're most worried about is our collection. Some of it is irreplaceable. The stories that go along with it, the personal histories. We have people that have donated their relatives' entire collection of militaria, their journals, everything associated with their life, Cobalt residents, non-Cobalt residents. And so, we're worried about that continuing to be able to be offered to the public and also to preserve it. And right now the space is pretty topsy-turvy. There's still a lot of the collection that we need to go through and try to take steps to salvage. But there's also a lot of infrastructure in the space. The washrooms are disassembled. There's much of the flooring that's been removed. And so what we're asking is just a way to set that right. We're asking if we could get the lease renewed. We would love to continue to be tenants of the town of Cobalt. I think it's a win-win for both of us. I think the town and the bunker are stronger together. I think, we can do more promotion. We can try to bring in more people to come to the town. And at the time when the town is really starting to get some traction and to make some really positive changes, and we're seeing businesses open and more buzz and more tourism, I think this is the opportunity, to kind of go with a united front. In the event the town doesn't wish to renew the lease, although we would hope that they would, or you would reconsider. Because we're a registered museum, it would be impossible for us to try to deaccession this collection.
Yeah, excuse me. So much to what Darcy's saying is, the letter that we had originally sent to the town, from my understanding, was misinterpreted. Ultimately, I really am not concerned so much about the cost of replacing things. We, forget all of that. What the museum would really like to do is just be able to go back to business. So just, if what we're hoping for is that bathrooms and the storage unit and the boardroom and the office can be put back to their usable state, and then, then we're okay. The cleaning of it and whatnot we can handle. We can look after those kinds of things. And yeah, so the collection itself was a little bit was damaged, but it wasn't anything that that we weren't able to handle. Yeah, and so to add more to what Darcy was saying, the letter that we received from the town was very alarming to me, because there is a very I don't want to say strict, but there is a set of guidelines that operating museums have to follow in order to deaccession these. Because we're dealing with people's lives, people's history, that kind of thing, a 2 months notice to deaccession and potentially close the museum or find a new place for it to be is just, it's impossible. So our ultimate goal is to renew the lease, to go back to business, and like Darcy said, to continue being a positive contribution to the town. And if that's not something that council is prepared to offer, we would hope that we could negotiate a reasonable term in order to allow us to do that efficiently and ethically. Yeah.
We never wanted to, and our intention is never to be a drain on the town of Cobalt. I think historically we've always tried to stand on our own feet with what we had, do our own fundraising, pay the utilities, pay the costs associated with the space. And going forward, we would hope that we would be able to continue to be a positive contributor to the town of Cobalt, should we be given the opportunity to be there, just as we have in the past.
And just to add to that, for those of you who aren't aware, the museum is a fully functioning facility. We are open seasonally and throughout the off seasons as well by appointment. There's a functioning board. We're a charitable nonprofit organization. So I don't want to compare it to other facilities in town that work like that, but this is a viable business, and we don't see ourselves as a huge drain on resources to the town. So we're just hoping that we're able to, like I said, get back to business.
No. So I guess we'll end just by thanking you again for the opportunity to come and present to council. I know you guys had given it a lot of thought and had reached a decision. And again, we're just hoping that if you look at it from a slightly different perspective, that you might be willing to reconsider that and look at allowing the bunker to continue to sign another longer term lease and continue to be a tenant with the town. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We do have a discussion further on the agenda. So we'll carry on with the meeting and we'll get to that point of the agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. 5, adoption of meeting agenda, draft motion. Be it resolved that council approve the agenda of the regular meeting dated November 12th, 2025 as presented. A mover and a seconder, Councillor Lafleur and Councillor Starchuk. Any errors, omissions, clarification required on the agenda? Okay, all in favor? Carried. 6, adoption of previous council minutes, draft motion. Be it resolved that council approve the following minutes as presented. Regular meeting of council, October 14th, 2025. A mover and a seconder. Councillor Starchuk and Councillor Hughes. Sorry, Councillor Ward, I was struggling to grasp the name.
Okay.
Any errors, omissions on the previous minutes? All in favor? Carried. 7, staff reports. Draft motion. Be it resolved that council accept the staff reports as presented. A mover and a seconder. Councillor Lafleur and Councillor Anderson. 7.1 Cobalt Public Library minutes, September 2025. Any discussion? None. 7.2 staff report 2025-11-12-01 surplus lot 1 North Avenue. Any clarification or discussion? 7.3 staff report 2025-11-12-02 Temiskaming District Joint Compliance Audit Committee 2026 to 2029. Any discussion on that?
Your worship, may I speak on that one?
Yes, you may.
Every 4 years, and we're coming up to that time very soon. Voting day is Monday, October 26th, or October 26th, 2026. And under the Municipal Act, it requires that each council or local board must establish a compliance audit committee. So 4 years ago, this was done at this time of year, again now. So we have prepared 2 bylaws for it. One is to establish the committee, and another one is for the terms of reference. So this all pertains to the elections coming up later next year.
Okay. All in favor? Carried. 8, items for council consideration. 8.1, International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, draft motion. Whereas violence continues to be the greatest gender inequality rights issues for women, girls, and gender diverse individuals, and whereas November is Women Abuse Prevention Month, and whereas November 25th is the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, and whereas femicide rates are on the rise in Ontario with over 62 femicides occurring in Ontario in 2024, and whereas our community is committed to ending femicide and all forms of gender-based violence, and whereas Indigenous, Black, South Asian, Southeast Asian women and girls continue to experience higher rates of violence, including femicide. And whereas last year in Ontario, on average, every 6 days, a woman or child lost their life due to femicide. And whereas in 5 of the last 6 years, at least one person from the district of Temiskaming was a victim of femicide. And whereas this month and throughout the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, we acknowledge our community's support of the Wrapped in Courage campaign and commitment to ending gender-based violence. And whereas there is an urgent need for greater investment and action to end gender-based violence in our community and throughout Ontario. And whereas it is recognized that the courage of a woman alone is not enough, it takes an entire community to end gender-based violence. Be it resolved that I, Angela Adsted, Mayor of the Town of Cobalt, proclaim and declare that November 25th, 2025 shall be known as the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, and urge all citizens to recognize this day by acting to support survivors of gender-based violence. A mover and a seconder. Councillor Wilcox and Councillor Starchuk. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. 8.2, Bunker Military Museum Requests, Part 1, Draft Motion. Be it resolved that council approve or deny the Bunker Military Museum's request to negotiate a new lease. We'll do a mover and a seconder, I guess, and we'll fill in the approve or deny at the end. Councillor Anderson and Councillor Lafleur, discussion. Okay, I'll start off the discussion. There's a few points I'd like to make so that everybody is aware. We're not saying the bunker has to close. We're just saying that this is not a viable space. There has been numerous leaks. We can't guarantee they're not going to happen. We can't police what people are putting down their sewage, despite the messages we put out to the public, what should and should not go down your toilets. There's a crack in the sidewalk that's never going to be fully sealed. It is going to become a problem again down the road as infrastructure ages. And it's all fine to say that the town's paying a deductible with the insurance, but that deductible causes an increase in our insurance rates, which then in turn is a cost to our ratepayers and an increase in their taxes. So to say that it's not really costing the town anything is incorrect and misinformed. It does cost at the end. And the one thing that I did run on was to be financially responsible, and that's what we're trying to do. We're to have to make some tough decisions, and it's not that we don't support anything. My own uncle is a vet. I empathize. But at the same time, I have to represent all the ratepayers in the town of Cobalt. So it was a tough decision to come to. And I, for one, will stand behind that decision. And I'm sure we could come to terms of extending the rental of the space until such a time as it can move. And I would hope they could find another space. So, and as council, we'll go around the table. Is there anybody who wants to speak? Councillor Wilcox?
Thank you, Your Worship. A couple of things. I think part of the reaction of council was indeed due to the wording in the letter that we received. If you want to have a friendly relationship, the word "sue you" should never appear. That kind of gets feathers ruffled, and it directs the discussion away from what you wanted.
I'd like to clarify this. There is absolutely no intention that will not ever happen.
We got that message. With respect to the bunker and its collection, it's excellent. I was mayor when Jimmy Jones donated it to us, and we put them down in the ONR station.
Your son worked for me for some season.
For instance, yeah. It's near and dear to my heart. I'm willing to change my mind on the vote, but as the mayor has said, our insurance can't be leaned on to do that sort of thing, and your lease specifically says you will insure contents. So perhaps you forgot to do it, perhaps it was negligence, I don't know, but.
So as an example, for us to clarify, for us to carry content insurance, the cost would be exorbitant. So even if we're wrong, and Toronto doesn't carry content insurance on its entire collection, and they insure certain exhibits and whatnot that come through, but for us to carry content insurance is almost useless because we don't.
Okay, I gotta stop because this can't. Unfortunately, it's against procedure for there to be a two-way conversation at this point. I get what you are both saying, and I'm sorry, but I'm bound to follow procedure, Councillor Wilcox. I can't just decide when I'm going to follow and when I'm not.
Well, actually, in the interest of getting to the heart of the matter, I think you can. It's your discretion. But anyway, that said, what was I going to go with the rest of it? Yeah, we have to understand it's not a great location. It does leak. It has leaked for as long as I've known it. Well, no, before the sidewalk was replaced. It didn't leak back then. The fellow had a men's clothing shop underneath for years, and it was fine. But I can't see how financially right now we can help you anyway. We are kind of stuck for money. Personally, I would love to see you stay. You're an asset to Cobalt. You're one of the building blocks 25, 30 years ago, whenever it was, that I was talking all about how good it was going to be. It was one of the building blocks for our getting tourists and that kind of thing into the town and trying to get tourist dollars for development from the government as well. It helped. The government sent up representatives to see how much money they should give us. And the museum was the only place they were able to, they each had $100. And the museum was one of the few places they could actually spend money. So I think you were at the other museum was the other outfit that had things for. So yeah, you play a role and the role could get bigger. I would like to see you stay, but there has to be a more working relationship developed. And as I said, that would be pretty much on your shoulders.
Councillor Anderson?
Okay, I'm sure virtually all of you know, I was with the museum for years before moved out of the train station, volunteering down there, and then for the first 8 years, well, we organized it, put it together. I was the treasurer, looked after getting all that documentation done and keeping up and everything. But I believe when Steph Palmatier said, this is where it's going, my immediate response was, over my dead body, because of the leakage down there. I had been down in that basement before and seen it, and it was wet on the sidewalk side ever before that. I do have a good structural building background, and so I saw where the problems would come in that building. And then of course we can do nothing with what happens in the back end, and unfortunately that was another long-term lease in getting all the stuff done. So it's a matter of damage caused from DSAB should be paid for. It shouldn't be coming through the town. It should be DSAB that's looking after that, because I love it. Love the museum. When I left, I certainly missed it. I miss talking to my ghosts. I miss talking to the servicemen down in there. Over the years, when you're working hours and hours and hours a day in there, I got my favorite guys. But and I know and I fully understand what it's going to take. God, I hate to ever see it decommissioned, but to pick it up and move it somewhere else too. That's why, yes, I knew from the beginning when we said this, it's going to take more lease to be able to give you guys time to do anything. It couldn't be done in 2 months. It was put at 2 months because that's when your lease was up, was the end of December. So it was like, no, we've got to get this sorted out now. But yeah, it's got to be a better, more secure building that does not have water problems. I think like the library. I said, from the beginning, it was like, here's the crack. Shouldn't have been put against that wall, and all those beautiful volumes that have been damaged over the years. And the best thing that Mr. Harrison came up with, and I congratulate him on that, was when he put that eaves trough along there to take the dripping, take it away from the library. So
I just like to say,
Unfortunately,
yeah.
you have to petition council to speak.
Mm-hmm.
just to clarify a couple of things, it's just that we can't do anything about DSAB. CSAB's problem, we know that, we can prove it. But the town is the one that has to go after DSAB, and you can recoup your costs from DSAB. We can't.
Okay. I can't get into that discussion. Again, if you want to speak, you're going to have to petition to speak to council. And things aren't always as easy and as clear as everybody thinks they are. Councillor Lafleur?
Okay. A couple of things that really bothered me, because, I mean, even somebody who has an apartment has contents insurance, okay? Whatever it is, even if it's for a bicycle, they have contents insurance. The thing is that that was in the contract when you guys signed it, that you would get this insurance. Now, apparently you don't have it. This is what I understood. The sidewalk they're talking about was made of glass years ago, many, many years ago. And that, Mr. Harrison knows exactly the deal that he had to go through to get that fixed. I know because I helped him out with it, okay? And it was miserable, but it was a leak. That was the beginning of it. And now it's continued on, and it's still leaking now. Whatever, I don't know how much. I haven't been in there for a long time. 20-year lease, that would really, I can't see that. That was thrown at us, and I did not appreciate that. And I'm going, well, geez, that's not right. Like I can see, a couple of years or something like this here, but not 20 years. So I would be willing to turn around, as my friend said there, that to change my thoughts, change my wording or my decision. I would go for a year for now and see how things work out, but things have to be done accordingly. You can't just throw stuff in there. Okay, you can't just say, oh, well, this is what we're going to do. We never know what they're doing down there. The bunker never tells us what their intentions are. We find out when it's right to the date, or we don't find out till after. Okay, so it's what's that?
Clarify that statement, and we never tell anything until.
Well, we don't hear of anything happening like that until.
Sorry, okay, this is,
Yeah.
this is not a two-way meeting. There are procedures and there are etiquette and protocol for the meetings.
Anyway, my thoughts are, okay, the bunker, I am a military person, okay? I'm a veteran, and I deal with that. And what's down there, I cherish. I love what's down there. But I can't verify 20 years. So that's really, really what's stuck in my craw, like really bad in my throat. And I understand you're going to say something, but wait.
I don't work with the past for 20 years, and I apologize.
5 years.
5 years.
5 years? Okay, I apologize. I stand corrected. 5 years. But the thing is that even 5 years, that things aren't happening that way. They're not progressing for the bunker.
Okay,
That's about all I got to say. Thanks.
Councillor Ward?
I don't know an awful lot about the bunker, to be honest with you. I've never been in there. It's never been open since I moved to town. So I can't really speak on it an awful lot. I am, yes. No, I haven't. Thank you. I will one of these days.
Okay, that's enough.
Anyhow, I think that a temporary lease would probably be good if it could be worked out for a year or whatever until maybe an appropriate place could be found or a move could be lined up and done if you decided to move.
Councillor Starchuk?
Thank you. I'd just like to thank everybody that showed up tonight. I wish we could have this at every meeting. I'm glad to see that people are so concerned about this, and I'm concerned about it as well. I'm fascinated with the Bunker Museum since I came here 5 years ago. I haven't been in a while, but it was fascinating stuff. I wish everything was good down there with the structure, but that structure is, I think it's gonna be an ongoing problem for you there. And I'm hoping that we can, or you can find another location for it, but I think this 2 months thing, to do that, it's too short. We'd have to give them more time. I think, in my opinion, it's unfortunate, but like I said, I don't want to see it go. I don't want to see anything go. I want to see things excel and attract the tourism here for years to come. And you've been doing a great job. Like, I'm not saying anything wrong with it. It's just the structure itself. We're concerned about it. It's going to be an ongoing problem, I think, for the town, and the costs and the taxes that have to go up to cover. It's just a lot of stuff going on. And that's about it.
Councillor Hughes?
I'm moving for a temporary lease extension. We can negotiate something along the lines.
So, vote on extending the, sorry? Yes, we will do a recorded vote on this, please. So, we'll vote on approving I don't want to say a new lease, extending the existing for an appropriate length of time. And we'll negotiate an appropriate length of time in discussions. So we'll go down to this. Oh, okay, so, sorry, I've been corrected. We're gonna deny 8.2, and then we're gonna go down to 8.3. So it's gonna read, be it resolved that council deny the Bunker Military Museum's request to negotiate a new lease. So I didn't get a mover in a second. You did? Okay.
Could we have a minute to review 8.3, please?
Yeah, go ahead and review it.
There are some typos there.
Yeah, there are. Let me write a new motion. Or amend that motion.
Why wouldn't we approve this? Just to negotiate a new lease.
Because we don't want to debate it as a lease, we'll do it as a month-to-month rent. No, we're just extending it for a certain amount of time.
And we don't.
Councillor Wilcox?
Okay, I'd like to propose an amendment to
Okay.
8.2, that council approve a one-year lease subject to renewal depending on negotiations, satisfactory negotiations. I think most of us around this table have said 1 year would seem appropriate. That's what I heard. So I would say let's give it another year and subject to renewal then depending on satisfactory negotiations.
Okay, but are we gonna end up in the same boat in another year that it's gonna take time to move?
Well, it depends on how they resolve the leaks. You know, that's the biggest problem right now.
Okay, we can do that.
Presenter has a question.
May I say something?
Yes.
Just so the council's aware, the previous move that we made back in 2009 to 2011 took the museum 2 years with the staff that we had. So I would request that if there is an extension, much to what you just said, are we going to have this problem in a year again, that council consider a 2-year renewal, please, to allow me some adequate time to handle this.
Okay. My concern is we can't continue to put claims under the insurance to remediate for water leak.
So right now, the water leak was confined to the back. The back has been disassembled. for those of you that have been in there, and everything is in the main gallery space, which is unaffected. The sidewalk issue has been, remediated for quite some time now. We're dealing with that sufficiently. We're not asking council to pay for any of the damages or to the collection itself. As for the comments about collection insurance, forget that stuff. We just want to be able to either go back to doing business, so having the back end, putting the floor down and the toilets back in, or allowing me enough time to session the collection and find a suitable place to move it to. And so just as previously, what happened in the past is it took me 2 years to do that with myself and 2 other staff. It's just myself as the only paid member. Everyone else here, all the members of the Board Museum are either too old to be doing that stuff or working full time. So I'd like to request 2 years.
I guess my concern is if it leaks, because we have no control over it, that's part of the problem. We have no control over if it's gonna leak or if the sewer is gonna back up. That's gonna be another claim to the insurance because we're gonna have to repair floors again, we're gonna have to repair bathrooms again.
So there were some suggestions made by the plumbers to have a grinding system installed into the stack, like Mike had said. We are able to prove where some of those problems are coming from.
And again, it's money, it's finances.
Right.
For every $8,000 the town spends, that's a 1% increase to your taxes. And while I appreciate the group that has come out to support the bunker tonight, this is by no means a representation of the full population of the town of Cobalt. There's 900 and some residents in Cobalt. I think the history is very important. That's why we're not saying they have to close it, Mr. Angus. I'm not saying they have to close. I'm just saying. Okay. No, I'm not going to get into a debate on this. Councillor Wilcox?
In view of the presenter's comments, I would like to amend my amendment to read a 2-year lease and give them sufficient time to either remediate the problem or do whatever else needs to be done. My preference is to see you stay in Cobalt.
Okay, no, I'm going to call a 10-minute recess. Some of you are past councillors, you know that. This is not acceptable. Now we've presented, I need my clerk back. You want me to go get it? Oh. Now we have an amended motion that was tabled. Okay, to extend the lease for 2 years.
Yeah. And it was moved by Councilor Wilcox.
Yes.
And seconded.
I need a seconder for that amended motion. Councillor Starchuk. Okay, we're going to do a recorded vote. Pen. Councillor Anderson. Oh, sorry. Councillor Wilcox, since you amended the motion, we'll start with you.
For the amendment.
Councillor Anderson.
Or
Councillor Hughes.
4.
Councillor Lafleur.
4.
Councillor Starchuk.
4.
Councillor Ward.
4.
And Mayor Adsett. 4. Yep. so it's unanimous. We'll extend the lease for 2 years, with the understanding that, sorry? Yes, we're gonna negotiate. We'll have some discussions with Dan. Okay, so if you want to set a meeting with Steve. Okay, thank you. Moving on now.
So this one here was- so this one here did not. 2 years.
Okay,
And that was.
yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so that bypasses this.
Okay.
We're done.
Okay, 8.4, surplus lot, 1 North Avenue, staff related to staff report 2025-11-12-01. Whereas at the regular council meeting on August 19th, 2025, council declared 1 North Avenue as surplus and be advertised for sale. And whereas a tender has been received, and whereas council received staff report 2025-11-12-01. Now therefore be it resolved that council approve the sale of 1 North Avenue to Michael Willett for the sum of $14,000 plus applicable legal fees, appraisals, surveys, and any other fees without limitation incurred by the town in connection with the sale of the land. And further, that council directs staff to proceed with the necessary documents. A mover and a seconder. Councillor Lafleur. Councillor Lafleur and Councillor Anderson. All in favor? Carried. $8.5, Cobalt Fire Department, request for new members. Whereas council received the report for the Cobalt Fire Department requesting council's approval to appoint 3 new members to the department. Now therefore be it resolved that council approve the recommendation from the Cobalt Fire Chief to appoint the following applicants as volunteer firefighters to the Cobalt Fire Department. Riel Allard, Dean Franks, and Travis O'Neill. A mover and a seconder. Councillor Wilcox and Councillor Lafleur. Any discussion?
The fire departments are gonna train those guys.
Actually, these guys come trained.
Some of them have 15, 20
Great,
years
awesome.
experience.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't read and get into that.
Individuals coming, one of them has over 20 years of experience already.
Awesome. Awesome.
Another one has 15 years in fire service and is a full-time paramedic,
Oh, wow, very good.
as well as the final one is also an emergency first responder trained and applied suicide intervention skills training. So we are getting 3 members with tons of experience
Yeah,
that would benefit.
Oh, yeah. You got that right. Good, thank you.
Okay, 9, items for council information, draft motion. Be it resolved that council accept, oh, sorry, yes. All in favor? Carried. 9, items for council information, draft motion. Be it resolved that council accept the items for council information as presented. A mover and a seconder. Councillor Wilcox and Councillor Lafleur. 9.1, Northeastern Public Health Board minutes, September 2025. Any discussion? No? 9.2, Cobalt Historical Society minutes, October 27th, 2025. No? 9.3, Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund, OMPF, 2025 allocation notice. Can we speak on that? Yeah.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just to let council know, there is an increase of 72,900 from 2025 to 2026. So therefore, the municipality will receive total OMPF funds are 988,800. But keep in mind, we have not yet received our policing
And that could be a very negative, unhappy
Yes.
surprise when that
Yes, it
comes
sure
in.
was.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're gonna get a break on it this year like we got last year.
It hurt us bad.
9.4, Cobalt Public Library financial update.
Speak on that,
Yep.
Your Worship? Just to let council know, the Cobalt Library board meeting, it was discussed previously that the municipality would be taking over the financials, like doing the day in, day out of the accounting, and it will be coming over as January 1st of 2026. So, approved. So, forward.
Any questions on that? Okay, 9.5, Cobalt 2026 budget update.
Your Worship, staff has been working with different departments, of course, with the fire department, as well as going to be receiving a budget from the library to bring forward to council, and we were looking at meeting with council early December to bring a preliminary budget. Get a start on this quickly. We are looking at December the 3rd temporarily right now. We will confirm that with council.
So that's great news.
What date was that? I'm sorry.
Earliest budget yet.
December 3rd.
December 3rd, thanks.
All in favor? Carried. 10, bylaws and agreements. 10.1, bylaw 2025-35 to establish and appoint the 2025-2029 Temiskaming District Joint Compliance Audit Committee. It's related to staff report 2025-11-12-02. Draft motion, whereas council received staff report 2025-11-12-02. Now therefore be it resolved that bylaw 2025-25 to establish 35, to establish and appoint the 2026 to 2029 Temiskaming District Joint Compliance Audit Committee be taken as read a first, second, and third time this 12th day of November 2025, and further that the said bylaw be signed and sealed by the mayor and clerk. Mover and a seconder. Councillor Lafleur, Councillor Wilcox, any discussion?
Is this new, being like a joint area committee?
No,
Yeah.
it's
It is
something we
with the
do
Temiskaming every 4 years.
Yeah.
It has to be approved. Yeah, it involves other areas, including ourselves, Township of Armstrong, Breathitt, Casey, Chamberlain, Charlton, Dak, City of Temiskaming Shores as well, us, Coleman, Englehart, Eventual, Gautier, Harley, just anyone
That's a
involved
whole
with
list.
the TMSA.
I was never aware of it being joint before. I always thought it was just in-house, or is this a new?
No, it was
It's
joint
always
before.
had it.
Never everything.
Any other questions or discussion? All in favor? Carried. And I apologize if I stumble. I have cataracts and it's really hard to read, so I'm doing the best I can up here. 10.2, bylaw 2025-36 to adopt the Temiskaming District Joint Compliance Audit Committee 2025-2029 terms of reference. And that's related to staff report 2025-11-12-02. Draft motion, whereas council received staff report 2025-11-12-02. Now therefore be resolved that bylaw number 2025-36 to adopt the Temiskaming District Joint Compliance Audit Committee 2025-2029 terms of reference be taken as read a first, second, and third time this 12th day of November 2025, and further that the said bylaw be signed and sealed by the mayor and clerk. A mover and a seconder, Councillor Anderson and Councillor Starchuk. Any discussion on the terms of reference? All in favor? Carried. 11, unfinished business, there is none. 12, new business. 12.1, schedule of accounts, draft motion. Be it resolved that council receives the following schedules as presented. Schedule number 2025-20 in the amount of $145,963.85. Schedule number 2025-21 in the amount of $81,920.18. A mover and a seconder. Councillor Lafleur and Councillor Anderson. Any clarification required on those schedules? All in favor? Carried. 13, Mayor's Report. I'd like to send out a big congratulations to the group who are doing the hometown challenge. They've done a great job. They've submitted their application, so now we're just waiting to hear what happens. I know they put a lot of work into it, so good job to them.
Did everyone see the video?
I did, yes.
You
They
did?
did a very good job.
Excellent.
Also, just to let everybody know that our Christmas lighting in the park for the kids will be on December 6th, 6 p.m. We're going to be turning on the lights. Santa and Mrs. Claus are coming to visit for the kids, and we will have some goodies donated by the North Cobalt Flea Market. Did we confirm hot chocolate? Not yet? Okay. And more to come. I'm hoping. I'm working on it. I'm doing my best. So if anybody wants to pitch in and help out, just give me a shout and let me know.
December the 6th is the lighting.
Yeah, I'll have tea lights for the children again to put on the manger, as I did last year. I'll be donating those.
What time do they do?
6 o'clock.
At 6.
Yeah. So, yeah, hopefully we'll see lots of children. I've invited the children from Coleman Township to attend with our Cobalt children this year.
That'd be nice.
Okay.
Just holler. I'll give you a name.
14, closed meeting. Draft motion, be it resolved that council convene in closed session as per section 239 of the Municipal Act 2001, as amended in order to address a matter pertaining to a subsection, or two subsection, 2A, security of the property of the municipality or local board, 2B, personal matter about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, 2F, advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose. A mover and a seconder. Councillor Anderson and Councillor Hughes. All in favor? Carried. Just to let anybody on the recording know that we will not be resuming recording after the closed meeting. Okay, and we'll take a 10-minute recess so John can break down his equipment.
Yeah.